So let's build that sustainable competitive advantage table. Sounds complicated, it isn't. Simply, we list our driving forces: political, economic, societal, technological, megatrends and globalisation. For each corresponding driving force, we put in our industry critical success factor. You remember those. Compliance, value, lead or follow, and perhaps are you going to be proactive or reactive for globalisation and megatrends. The last piece we add to the table is from the SWOT, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats. We only want the strength. So when you do that table, which we'll show you how to do, is that you take a strength and do you have the strengths to match or exceed the compliance for the regulations of the political driving force? Do you have the strength to position yourself in the societal fashions and fads, lead or follow? In the economic, do you have the strength to provide both tangible and intangible value, and so on? We then look at whether you can match or exceed those, and if you can, fantastic. If you can't, question mark, and that's where we apply creative thinking and innovation. You must be able to counter those problem areas we identify on the table. The reason we do the table is to find where our weaknesses are so we can do something about them. Again, we move from being reactive, finding out too late, to being proactive and making something happen. It's most unusual for an organisation to match all the driving forces. The one you do have to match is the political driving force with compliance as the industry critical success factor. You must be able to match and or exceed the rules and regulations. Otherwise, you cannot play. Okay, so we've looked at how to build a sustainable competitive advantage table. One of the things to think about is that it highlights what is, and we stop time. So when we do a table in any business or any opportunity, and why people worry about it is that as soon as you write it down, it will change. And that's what frustrates most people. But I always say we've got to start somewhere. The same with the PEST analysis. We stop a driving force in the table, but you know tomorrow or tonight it will change. What I look for is that how do you manage what is and prepare for what will be, because you know 1, 2 or 3, in fact all of those driving forces will change. What I want you to think about now is that after you've created today's sustainable competitive advantages and you're thinking, what? I've got to do it again. What the entrepreneur does is zoom in on the details, zoom out on the pest. Always look at the pest. Go back to that conversation about the radars. You've got to keep looking. The table stops time. The action is in the movement. Are you ready to play? So what? Not another model, not another table. What's so important about the sustainable competitive advantage table is that where are those areas you've identified you cannot currently match or exceed those industry critical success factors at the moment. What I'd be looking for and what you must look for is, can you apply the enterprising mindset or the tools of innovation to manage that challenge? At least match the industry critical success factor. Otherwise, you cannot play. Okay, it's your turn. I'd like you to create a sustainable competitive advantage table. You might be thinking, where do I start? Well, why don't you go back and have a look at what Sarah and Mike have done the first time they did their table. I think you'll be surprised. 1, they worked through it, and 2, it was quite successful. Have a look at how they approached the problems and how they overcame them with their strengths. Build the table, see what you have, see where you have to apply that enterprising mindset, see where you can take this opportunity to be able to enter, survive and thrive. Let's go. So what's next? You should now understand how to play in the market from that zoomed out perspective. But it is important that you know that there are other players in the market as well. What we look at next is the role that your competition plays in the marketplace. And remember, it's ferocious. It's like any game we play. There are winners, there are losers. I want to see whether you can determine how you hold the position of power in your segment, market or niche, so the likelihood of your success goes up and your stress goes down.